Hello, this is Helen Thomas and the CDFM study group. I'm continuing review of CDFM module 4, but I'm moving on to competency area number 4, life cycle sustainment. So once we actually have the item developed, acquired, procured, we need to be able to sustain the items. And so we're beginning on page 4.4.1. And as you can see, the learning objective to recognize the concept of life cycle sustainment and the program manager's responsibility in implementing a total life cycle sustainment program. The program manager, remember before we started the process, is the program manager have to develop that life cycle support plan, that total life cycle cost from cradle to grave. So he or she has to incorporate all of that and is responsible for the sustainment part of it also. In the introduction paragraph, so I had a few highlights that I wanted to point out. The program manager, again, in the middle of that paragraph, is responsible for providing the needed product support capability to maintain the readiness, sustainment, and operation of a system. So when in doubt, pick the program manager, because he's usually responsible for all this process. Life cycle sustainment. I'm reading at the top of page 442 in the bullets at the top. Life cycle sustainment is the planning, development, implementation, and management of a comprehensive, affordable, and effective system support strategy. A life cycle sustainment planning is considered during material solution analysis, right, in the beginning of the process, and matures through technology development. So remember, it's material solution analysis, milestone A, then technology development. So you do that life cycle sustainment planning, starting at material solution, ending in technology development. A life cycle sustainment plan is prepared for milestone B, because milestone B is the formal initiation of an acquisition process. Life cycle sustainment employs effective performance-based life cycle product support planning, development, implementation, and management. And life cycle sustainment requires continuing post-deployment reviews of sustainment strategies. Of understanding throughout this whole process, you got to continue to review. Let's see what they say by Jason. All right, so I'm reading out of the second paragraph on page 442. It is especially important that sustainment considerations are included in pre-systems acquisition and acquisition activities, including the Joint Capabilities Integration and Development System, JCITS, structured program reviews, and tracking sustainment. Okay, they're just telling me that I need to make sure it's done. All right, page 3 goes into the plan for support, the life cycle support plan. So I'm reading the paragraph on the bottom. Life cycle sustainment planning, and I got some highlights here that I want to focus, so let me make sure I read it again. Life cycle sustainment planning shall be considered during material solution analysis and shall mature throughout the technology development. See, that's what I just said from the bullets. So that's why I had it highlighted. Okay. A life cycle sustainment plan shall be prepared for milestone B. I just said that. The planning shall be flexible. All right, sounds good. The life cycle cost sustainment plan shall be part of the program's acquisition strategy and integrate, because remember, milestone B is where you start the acquisition strategy process. Okay, so the rest of it is pretty straightforward or repetitive for what I've already stated. All right, let's see what we have here on page 445. Talks about life cycle sustainment considerations, product support, interoperability. So these are all the things that product needs to be able to do that you're developing. Data management, life cycle. So just look and review those. Okay, what I have back here. Configuration management, what is that? On page 446. It says, configuration management is a process for establishing and maintaining the consistency of a product's physical and functional attributes. So this is one of the list of things that the life cycle sustainment plan includes, but it had a lot of information on here, the definition, so I kind of highlighted some things there that I wanted to focus on. So let me read the first sentence again. Configuration management is a process for establishing and maintaining the consistency of products' physical and functional attributes with its design and operational information throughout its life cycle. So making sure it's configured according to what it's supposed to be doing all throughout the process, that nothing changes. So that's the list of things. The different parts of life cycle plan on page 447 goes into the pre-acquisition stage, acquisition process, and sustainment and operations and support. All right, so pre-acquisition presents the first substantial opportunity to influence the weapons system's supportability, affordability, and all those things. Support, who is it going to support? How many people is it going to support? Affordability, cost. You can adjust your costs early on in the process through the pre-acquisition process. Acquisition process means now I'm in the formal stage, so I'm in milestone B. When the milestone decision authority approval permits the system to enter the engineering and manufacturing phase, a key life cycle sustainment emphasis during EMD is to ensure operational supportability. So again, it's saying that remember we said that the life cycle support plan, sustainment plan, is prepared for milestone B. Before they actually say go to the EMD phase, we want to make sure that it's supportable, affordable, and all of that. Those lists that we went on the previous pages. Page 8 talks about the sustainment piece of it and operations. And the two paragraphs under that main one, the PostIOC product support. Let's see what that says. Got some timelines on it. The DoD components conduct post-deployment reviews, periodic assessment strategies versus expected levels, from what we expected it to do versus what it's actually doing. And these reviews occur every 3 to 5 years after the initial operational capability. So that's something I highlighted that I needed to focus on. Every 3 to 5 years after the IOC, you do post-assessment. All right, this next section, some other key things to remember. So a lot of these, we've went over the topics before. The ICD, Initial Capabilities Document at the bottom of page 448. Capability Development Document. These were the starting documents when the Joint Requirements Oversight Council identified the capability gaps. They put it on the Initial Capabilities Document and the Capability Development Document as they develop through the process, and then a production document as they're actually producing the item. These documents are the sponsor's means to specify authoritative and testable performance. So they go back to what the capability gap is or was, and then use that as the guideline to make sure that they're actually meeting the need for that capability gap. Okay. Page 449, what do I have here? Acquisition program baseline, technology development. We've talked about analysis of the alternative in the material solution analysis phase, and technology development to reduce your technology risk. Acquisition program baseline, where the program manager lists the performance requirements, the schedule, the cost, the baseline, right? They give us the starting point. They provide the key performance measures, key supporting sustainment elements that we need to rate the objective, acquisition strategy, tests, and evaluation. So most of this is just info. I don't really have any highlights there. All right, next we go to page 4412, which is performance-based life cycle support. Now we go into the support elements, your OMARs, your MILPERs, your support. Let's see what I always like to look at the objectives, definition and overview. The essence of the PBL, performance-based life cycle support, is buying performance outcome, not the individual parts and repair. Decisions for PBL providers do not favor organic or commercial organizations. The decision is based upon a best value determination, evidenced through a business case analysis of the provider's product. Performance-based life cycle support is implemented through formal agreements called performance-based agreements. Okay, you always want to read the objectives in the front because they'll give you the key things that's in that section of where you're studying. So that's what I'm doing. All right, so page 4413, got some definition and overview of the performance-based life cycle support agreements. The essence of the PBL is buying performance outcomes. So they're not buying individual parts and sections, they're buying outcome. So performance-based life cycle product support is we want to make sure that we're enhancing the product, because product support, right? So it's not about individual parts, it's the product overall, the outcome of that product. Methodology, stakeholders, okay, a lot of info, okay. Page 4415, performance-based agreements, right? So the following chart shows the role of the program manager in developing and implementing performance-based agreements with an understanding of cost, risk decisions across the life cycle. Also, it shows the role of the force provider in specifying metrics, as well as the support provider in meeting these metrics. So let's see what we got here. So on the left, you got support provider. In the middle, buys performance as a package, the weapon system management. So the PM is your program manager in the middle. He's standing there to making sure that he gets the item from the support provider. It's in the right specification, technical breakdown. Then he gets the product, and the product, through the performance agreement, that it does what the force provider needs it to do. And the force provider takes it and specifies any required matrix, any required things that is not identified. So visibility into cost risk decisions across the whole life cycle. So it's just seeing how all these agencies overlap to be able to make this process a successful one, and still make sure that you're meeting that capability gap, so that that warfighter has exactly what they need to be successful. All right, so I think that's it. So I'm mentioning 14. All right, so I'm going to stop there on page 4415. As I continue review of CDFM Module 4 and try to get through this acquisition process. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe so you'll get the updates, and you'll get an email notification as I continue to send updates for this section. And I'll see you guys again next time. This is Helen Thomas from the CDFM Study Group.